During difficult times, it's very important to be persistent. I'm sure you have already heard this, but it's worth remembering. The hiring opportunities at companies don't necessarily line up with commencement day, so you may need to be a little patient. And you definitely should not expect to find any correlation between the ease with which you find the first job and your long-term career success. A little history may be useful here. I'm always inspired by the story of an American who, at 22 years of age, failed at his first business. Then at 23 years old, he was defeated as a candidate for the state legislature. At 24 years old, he failed once again in another business venture. At 26 years old, his fiancée died, shattering him, and at 27, he suffered a nervous breakdown. At 34, he was defeated as a candidate for the U.S. Congress. At 39, he was defeated again as a candidate for the U.S. Congress. At 46, he was defeated as a candidate for the U.S. Senate. At 47, he was defeated as a candidate for the U.S. Vice President. And at 50, he was once again defeated as a candidate for the U.S. Senate. Now, by now, he had established a consistent record of failure. Then in 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected the 16th President of the United States. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation and led the country successfully through the Civil War and is one of the greatest leaders we've ever known. I've always wondered whether all those years of adversity may have contributed to his extraordinary character and wisdom. By the way, 2009 marks the 200th anniversary of Abe Lincoln's birth. I just heard last week that the U.S. Mint is establishing a new penny in his honor. It will have a new picture of young Abe Lincoln sitting on a log. I hope you'll remember his perseverance every time you see one of these new pennies.
It wasn't until very recently that I even considered the notion of Olin being a past tense activity. And it took a certain trigger, and that what triggered the idea that finishing Olin was real was this class ring. Here is a tangible, constant embodiment of seniority. The class ring is a badge of honor, sparkling with the grim determination of many all-nighters. Its engraved band connects exploration to confusion to enlightenment, 4 years thick. This annular herald of graduation is a symbol that you've finished, that you've accomplished the task set for yourself by coming here. The ring represents a monumental doing. And when I first slid it on my finger, I had never thought of my action-packed life at Olin as something that could be so quaintly summarized in shiny titanium and placed neatly on my hand. Yet here it is, finished. 4 years of smelting and milling and forming and polishing, and suddenly the ring exists. My Olin life exists as a complete and concise thing. The making and the living are in the past. Now the things I've been so focused on doing are just a part of the whole of me. These 4 years of transforming experience will soon be 4 of many, and rather than living and breathing Olin every day, I'll be referring to it, remembering it, and drawing on it as a resource for the future. It will now be a means to other ends. As totally as I was immersed in the making, the finishing leaves me free, and I move on, adorned only by a tiny symbol of a huge endeavor. The ring's power as a symbol certainly has its limits. It cannot express everything that went into earning it. The real result of Olin isn't the ring, it's me. It's this excellent class of 2009 about to commence its post-Olin reality. We came here for the risk and the thrill, knowing that the risk was inherent in a deed worth doing. I deeply hope that Olin stays risky. I hope that the people here keep pushing past what others think is possible or comfortable. For a school of 300 in a world of 7 billion, to be risky is the only way to stay relevant. Now, when I look out from the Oval and think about all this risk and uncertainty in the world today, part of me says, perfect. Who better to adapt to newness than us? The world is changing. I think we have been learning to adapt quickly for years, and the class of 2009 has gotten good at it. But we are no passive adapters, we graduates. Openness to change is not enough for us. Instigating change is even more critical. I believe in this class, and I believe that we will take the risks to drive hard for great changes.
Princeton philosopher Cornel West complains that one of the worst things the older generation does is to tell the younger generation, be successful, be successful, be successful, as opposed to be great, be great, be great. There's a qualitative difference. I remember my own graduation like it was yesterday. It was a warm, wonderful, brilliant summer-like day, much like this here. It was 1997, the same year that Olin received its educational charter from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Franklin W. Olin Foundation had just announced its ambitious plans to reinvent engineering education on a little grassy hill right here in Needham. Olin, as we know it today, was just a twinkle in Larry Milas's eye. In graduating, I realized that college for me was somewhat like a train. After high school, I boarded it. Then 4 years later, I got off. My dad and little sister drove me there, dropped me off, and no one even visited for 4 years. After graduation, I packed my apartment into the back of a Ford Taurus wagon in a single morning and drove 13 hours straight back to Iowa City to live in my parents' basement. While at college, I didn't bring much, I didn't take much, and I certainly didn't create much. I didn't go to college thinking I'd build a college. It was pretty much there when I got there. I went to a good engineering school. It prepared me for success in the workplace, for success in graduate school. It did not prepare me for greatness. But standing before all of you right now, I feel like we could be on the path to real greatness. In coming to Olin for the first time in my life, I wanted to contribute to something bigger than myself. I wanted to be part of creating something new, something inspiring, something truly great. Up until coming to Olin, you'd probably been pretty successful. Now, as you leave, you have the opportunity to be great.
But the point is that engineering has dramatically and profoundly changed our quality of life. I think arguably you can and will do more as an engineer to change the lives of people than any other profession. And as profound as the changes wrought by engineers were in the 20th century, I think that the challenges to you will be even greater. In particular, the challenge to bring the benefits that we enjoy in the developed world to the developing world, and to do it in a sustainable way. I believe that achieving sustainability in which we consume and excrete at a rate which the earth can produce and absorb is the biggest problem for the 21st century. I honestly don't know what will be the biggest challenge for you, but I think sustainability is going to be one of the really biggies. Personally, my belief is that it will be the biggest. We are currently using our resources at a rate that the earth cannot recreate. We are creating waste at a rate that the earth cannot absorb. Unless we change that, our grandchildren may not enjoy a quality of life better than that in the developing world today. There are two ways we can achieve sustainability. One is to drastically reduce the population and return to a 17th century lifestyle. The other is to invent the technology which allows us to continue to enjoy our current or even improved lifestyle while not damaging the planet. I happen to prefer the second path, and that's your job, graduates.